Chapter 20 For Black Blood Venomous Goo Insect. Sorry, I only drink hot water. There were even more corpses outside. There were men, women, old, and young. Most of them were maids and servants, but there were also direct descendants of the Song family, close relatives, and guards. Without exception, they all died miserably. They were all killed by the disgusting goo worm. Song Shi's gaze fell on a child and he immediately recognized the cause of death. Within the body, he could vaguely feel something squirming, crazily. It did not even let a child off. How crazy! Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of a pale, bloodless corpse with bloodshot eyes. He lowered himself to the ground and touched it. He felt as if the essence chi in this person's body had been swallowed by something. Goo. Ghosts, the culprit has many tricks up his sleeve. Song Shi gritted his teeth and continued to observe, wanting to find some clues. Near the martial arts arena, a team of bailiffs in their uniform moved the corpses together with pale faces. They were all wearing special gloves and avoided touching the corpses with their bare hands. Song Shi's eyes narrowed and landed on the corpse that had just been moved over. Song Jiang. This guy was actually dead. His heart skipped a beat. Song Jiang was the eldest son of the first wife and was in control of the Song family's business. In the end, he still died in this calamity. Soon, he saw the second son, Song He. He was from the second branch and had died an even more tragic death. His head and body had clearly been separated. All the essence and blood in his body had disappeared and there was no blood at all around the wound. The 10th son, Song Fen, the second wife, the third wife, the fourth concubine, no less than 20. Direct descendants or collateral descendants of the Song family were lying on the ground, either bleeding from their 7 orifices or dying with tail faces. More maids and servants filled the square. From time to time, people from the demon slayers in black clothes would appear. Song's 7th young master Song. Why are you here? The constable noticed Song Shi and asked uneasily. There were strange things happening in the Song family. More than 300 people died overnight and the murderer left no clue. He was really afraid that Song Shi was not an ordinary person. I just got back, Constable Liu. Can you tell me what you found? Most of the corpses had already been cleared up and moved and most of the traces at the scene had been destroyed. Song Shi could only ask them. Oh, the 7th young master has just returned from the New Moon brothel, right? Fortunately, you weren't around. Otherwise, you might have become one of them. Lu Xianji was enlightened. He thought to himself that this profligate son's lifestyle had finally saved his life. Song Shi saw Lu Xianji's expression and knew what he was thinking about. However, he would rather experience dying by the hands of the murdered so that he could at least know what happened. He asked, "Any sign of the killer?" Lu Xianji shook his head and sighed. These murders weren't done by ordinary people. It's filled with strange aspects and ominousness. It's no longer something our government office can handle. You should ask those people. He pointed at the mysterious person from the Demon Slayers division. Song Shi wanted to point out that if he could get information out of him, there would have been no need for his questions in the first place. He took out a stack of banknotes and stuffed them into Lu Xianji's hands. Tell me what you know. Cough cough. Young Master Song is too polite. Lu Xianji skillfully put away the banknotes and whispered, I think it's better for young master to not investigate. All the people who died in the Song family were killed by a ghost without exception. Even a few first-rate guards died. The murderer is definitely not someone ordinary people can deal with. It's best to let the demon slayers handle it. They're good at this. I understand. I just want to know how the killer came in and left. Song Shi had to find a general direction first before he could investigate. Lu Xianji pointed at the sky with a strange expression. Song Shi immediately understood and said, in surprise, by flying. Yes. We've looked at all the areas, other than the traces left behind by the Song family when they fled. We didn't find anything. Other than flying over. How else can we come? Lu Xianji smiled bitterly. 7th young master Song, there's really no need to investigate. Don't die in vain for nothing. The murderer's abilities are beyond our imagination. Swoosh, Sakanya seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Lu Xianji hurriedly bowed. Greetings, sir. The latter ignored him and looked at Song Shi. A bowl of water appeared in his hand. The surface of the water was as flat as a mirror without any ripples. He looked at San Shi coldly. Your family's well water has been poisoned by the goo magic. How can you be fine? San Shi frowned. So these goo worms all enter the human body through drinking water. Now, do other people also had goo traces on them? He roughly understood how the murderer managed to kill so many people overnight without leaving much clues. In that case, the dog and the old gatekeeper who died yesterday were already signs showing that the water was being poisoned. Unfortunately, no one noticed. I'm asking you why you're fine. Sakanya's eyes turned cold. He was suspecting San Shi. I'm sorry, I only drink hot water, the kind that has been boiled. Even in summer, it will be boiled water that has been cooled down, San Shi said lightly. This was a good habit he had carried over from his previous life. In this world where hygiene standards were mostly poor, many diseases could be avoided through this method. He asked, these goo worms won't be able to survive after being boiled, right? Sakanya was stunned, so that was the reason. He had thought that San Shi was related to the demon. This is a low-level black blood venomous goo insect. Boiling it can indeed kill it. Sakanya said to Lu Xianji, drop a drop of blood in the bowl. Lu Xianji was depressed. Why does he want my blood? Can't this young Master San do it? Although he was depressed, he did not dare to disobey this lord. He took out the dagger and cut his finger, squeezing out a drop of blood and dripping it into the bowl. The clear water immediately rippled slightly after the drop of blood fell in. The red blood droplet instantly turned black and quickly disappeared. Lu Xianji was so frightened and that his face turned pale. He hurriedly retracted his finger, afraid that the thing in the water would enter his body and cause him to bleed from all 7 orifices and die. San Shi was deep in thought. This must be a special type of parasite, the more powerful kind. In this world, it seems that it was called a goo worm. This is the black blood venomous goo insect. It's born by swallowing blood and has astonishing reproductive ability. Unless it's smeared on the blade to cut people, under normal circumstances, it can only be spread through water. However, being boiled can kill it. As soon as he finished speaking, genuine chi surged in his palm, forming a vortex. As he quickly rubbed them together, which caused the temperature to rise. In the midst of the distorted air, there was actually fire dancing. Friction generated heat. San Shi was stunned, so cultivation also followed science concepts. Poo, poo, poo. Few water quickly boiled and a black stench floated out. The goo inside gradually died and the water became clear again. Most of your San family died from this goo magic. The remaining died when their essence was devoured by the evil spirit. Sakanya said coldly, you're lucky, you drank boiling water and didn't get poisoned. Lu Xianji's scalp went numb. He hurriedly turned to his subordinates and said, did you hear that? In the future, drink boiled water. Don't drink raw water, he said with slight uneasiness. Lord, this goo won't spread through the main water channels, right? If not, wouldn't the entire Silken City suffer? This was found in the well water. It's not river water. Moreover, if this goo doesn't have blood for food, it survives for at most 3 days only. I hope it hasn't spread. Sakanya threw the bowl aside, and it smashed into pieces. The fire dissipated, revealing his jade-like hand. He continued, just in case, immediately monitor the people nearby and let them drink boiled water. If anyone is poisoned, get rid of them as soon as possible. Yes, my lord. I'll report this to the prefecture and deploy some men. Lu Xianji left in a hurry. He did not expect that such a personal vendetta would end up affecting other ordinary people. If this goo was allowed to spread, then the entire Silken City would probably fall into chaos. Read latest chapters at wuxia.world.site only. After Lu Xianji left, Sakanya looked at San Shi. If you really want revenge, you can go to the Death Bamboo Forest in the west of the city to take a look. Of course, that is only if you're not afraid of death.